Okay, so this week I don't have any footage to share because, as you saw, last week I went to Nepal and then I went to Jaipur, and I even cut my Jaipur trip short because I started to feel sick and I came back to Bede and I have been like in bed for this whole past week. I feel like it was needed. I think this is something that I have kind of come to terms with, is that sometimes our body gets sick to force us to slow down. And I think that I've had some like internal shifts in me lately, and I haven't really taken the time to like really integrate. I think I was taking time to process, but I wasn't really allowing myself to like integrate what was coming up new into me. So, if you haven't been following my journey, back in April of 2025, I moved out of my apartment and I sold everything that I owned. And this was something that was really intentional. I had started to feel like in January, just this internal voice saying like you need to get out of the US. You need to get yourself into a safer environment. And that's what I did. But as much as I knew my soul needed to travel and I needed to experience all these things, I think at the end of the day, I was searching for something. I think it's easy to say like, no, I'm just traveling to travel. And while that is still true for me, I do want to just see the world. I want to be exposed to different cultures, different ways of living. At the end of the day, when my son died, there was a huge piece of me that died as well. And when I came to India for the first time back in 2023, I just felt so at home, and there was just something that was calling me here. I think sharing your life is really difficult online because it's so multi-dimensional. Like there's so many pieces of me and there's so many sides of me that I do feel like sometimes it's hard to like authentically share without exposing yourself too much. And I think the truth is that when you go through transitions, it's almost like undressing, and you don't want to always undress in front of other people. You know what I mean? Like it's a very vulnerable state. And I have been vulnerable and I've shared my life. Like, if any of you followed me from my original Instagram, which is kind of where I started sharing on social media, I shared so authentically about being a medical mom, about how difficult it was. That was hard because in the medical world, it's almost projected like your child is alive, just be grateful. But it was difficult to like have a child that was not what I expected. Like nobody gets pregnant thinking, oh, I'm gonna have a medical child that is gonna require a bunch of care or is gonna be really sick. And that doesn't mean that I didn't love every ounce of my son, but my motherhood journey was just very difficult. But I shared it anyways because I felt extremely passionate about making space for my son in the world. I wanted people to understand that just because he has disabilities doesn't mean that he is any less than anybody else. And the truth is that my son and his disabilities taught me so much about life, and it taught me so much about our value doesn't come from what we provide. It is just innate. And I think that's ultimately what I'm struggling with right now, is that I have acknowledged that because of my upbringing or my programming, I have always felt like I have to perform to be loved, or I have to do things in order to be worthy. And I feel like life is forcing me to realize that that's not true. And that's so difficult. And so, being on social media, I have started to see it in a different way. And I will say that I pride myself on not being a typical social media person, that if you follow me on Instagram, or used to, I never just shared the highlights. I shared everything. And I felt like that was what was only fair. Is that if I'm going to share the good things, that I also need to share the hard things. And I needed to be as well rounded as possible. But I started to get overwhelmed by trying to document everything about my life, because then it felt like I was documenting more than I was actually experiencing. And then I started having these feelings come up about like, essentially, what am I doing to become worthy? And then something happened like a few months ago that I didn't really anticipate. And it has completely changed a lot of my story, which I will say that as much as I share my life online, I am somewhat still private. And so there's pieces of my life that I want to keep for myself. And so I haven't really shared about this, but it almost feels like I'm not able to be transparent without sharing it. And so I don't know exactly how much I'm going to share about this, but I did get into a relationship and it makes me emotional. Okay, hold on. Let me try to like compose myself. I didn't think I was going to get this emotional. But this relationship has been so amazing. Like, I'm really happy, but it's been the hardest thing because I feel so safe in the relationship that it's caused a lot of past things to come up. And so it's been kind of hard for me because it's like a lot of what I'm experiencing right now, like the old stuff coming up. And I know it's such a good thing, but it's almost been kind of like a hard like line of like I want to keep things personal and private for my own self, but then the other part is that like what I'm going through right now is because of the safety that I found. And like I said, I have been traveling, follow my soul, but when I got into this relationship, it was kind of like, this is what I've been looking for. As much as that feels amazing, it's also really scary because I really didn't think I was going to get this emotional. I kind of thought like I'm just going to film this quick little video about like where I'm at, and I didn't think I was going to get so emotional, but this is kind of what I mean about like being authentic, is that I don't want to just get on here and like read off some script and try to pretend my life looks like this when I don't think that really does much good for the world. But this relationship has healed me in ways that I didn't even know was really possible. And it's made me kind of want to like live a little bit more of a private life, just because I think before I was lonely. I don't, you know, I think maybe if I tried to ignore it or avoid it and act like, no, I'm fine, I'm happy being single and independent, and I'm not going to say that's not true, but I think at the end of the day, I was searching for something, and being so happy in this relationship, it's like I'm living so much more the moment and not like for social media. Even though I wouldn't say that I was necessarily living for social media, I think that it was just my world had become my friendships online and sharing my life. And that's something that I do still want to do because I have made amazing connections and I have seen how much other people sharing their journey has affected me and has helped me in my journey, that I want to continue to be that light for others. But I'm now trying to like find the balance of how to document my life without it interfering with me living in the moment and actually like loving my life and being so present. I don't know if there's another better word. Like, I feel like before it used to be really easy for me to always just film because I was constantly thinking like I need to create content, I need to film my vlog, and I haven't talked to any of my friends online, or I just like felt this need to keep up with posting. And since getting into this relationship, I'm just like so happy with my real life that like I just don't really think about filming much. I don't really think about like posting much because I'm with the person that I want to share things with. I'm not like trying to connect with other people online for that fulfillment. Actually, saying this out loud sounds extremely weird. And I think this is where I'm trying to figure out my place with social media and making sure that it's healthy and it's not taking away from who I'm becoming. And I don't know if I'm making any sense. I feel like I kind of just rambled for 5 minutes. I'm sure it's been longer than 5 minutes, but I guess I'm trying to kind of like find my place of like being authentic and sharing real life without it taking me out of my real life, if that makes any sense. And I think that's really hard because I now realize like how much I was searching for connection before when I used to be posting. And now I'm just not really searching for that connection anymore. Like in the town that I'm in right now, I go out and I make friends, like genuine friends. And I have my partner and I have an amazing connection with him, and I have my family members. And so it just feels like I feel full, like I'm not searching for things anymore. And so now I guess I just need a little bit of space to kind of try to figure out how to share in a way that continues to help be a light for others, but isn't from the wrong intention. And I think this was just something that I needed to learn. I think I needed to be on social media for all the time that I was in order to fulfill the lack that I was feeling. And now that it's not there, I need to learn how to show up from this place. But I'm going to continue my vlogs because doing my vlogs is a commitment that I made to myself, and I genuinely enjoy sharing my life. And not in a like, I want to be an influencer type of thing, but the more that days go by and all my feed is now filled with like I just am craving real people sharing their real life that doesn't always look picture perfect. And so if I want that from the universe, I need to give that to the universe. And so, more than anything, this vlog is a commitment to myself to be what I want from the world and to try to empower and encourage others to share their authentic life, to show up authentically, even if it doesn't look picture perfect. So, I'm going to end this here because I could just keep rambling because I feel like I don't really know how to describe the phase I'm in right now, but I appreciate all of you who have like genuinely watched my channel and follow my journey, because it means more than you know, because it sounds funny, but the more that I share my journey, the more that I get to connect with others, and it's just like the most amazing reminder that human beings exist. Even though we're slowly being taken over by AI, the real people are still out there. So thanks for following along. Thanks for sticking in there with me. And next week, I will probably be back to my normal vlogs. So see you then.